While watching my dad go through a triple bypass heart surgery was such a hard thing. And since then, heart health is something that I take seriously, especially when a pandemic changed our way of life for quite some time. Well, with that, we're separating facts from fear with our heart and health. Well, Dr. Kohli is back to help us understand what COVID could mean for our hearts.
Dr. Kohli, thank you so much for joining me today. How are you?
I'm doing great, Danny. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much. Today we're talking about, of course, something, again, super close to your heart. We're talking about heart disease and the risk in COVID-19 survivors. So
Yes.
Is there a larger risk of getting heart disease if you've had COVID, even a mild case of COVID?
Yes, this is new data that just came out, Danny, just a few weeks ago. That's telling us that even patients who never got into the hospital with COVID-19, which we all know now somebody or have a family member who had that, are ending up in, especially the year after the infection, having a much higher risk of heart attacks, of strokes, of heart failure, of arrhythmias like atrial fibrillation, and of blood clots.
Wow.
So a real wake-up call for us that even though it was just a cold and we got over it, it may have some lingering effects with inflammation inside our body.
Sure. Okay. So why should people who have had COVID-19 keep up to date on their heart disease risk?
Yeah, so now more than ever, if you've already had COVID-19, there's not much we can do about that. But this is time for damage control. So we need to make sure that we assess the other risk factors, because remember, COVID can not just infect the heart directly, it can also infect the blood vessels and cause inflammation, cause our cholesterol to stick, cause our sugar levels to be different because it can increase our risk for diabetes. So we need to really get a snapshot of our health today so we can really start controlling those risk factors to try to minimize the chance that we're going to have a complication of heart disease.
Okay, so let's talk about how we do that today too, just by ourselves. What cardiovascular symptoms should we be on the lookout for?
So I think two things to think about. One is symptoms and one is screening to look for trouble before it presents itself.
Sure.
So symptoms, shortness of breath, exercise intolerance, fatigue, and sometimes it can be subtle. So if you're noticing that you used to maybe be able to walk up a full hill before you get short of breath, but now it's coming at half a hill, it's time to talk to your doctor. Any swelling in the ankles or holding on to fluid in your belly, any lightheadedness, dizziness, or nearly fainting, or any symptoms of heart racing, palpitations, or heart fluttering. These are all things that should set off alarm bells that something may be going on with the heart. That's the symptoms.
Okay.
Then you want to think about looking for the trouble, and that's when you think about really doing blood tests to try to get a snapshot of your health.
Okay, excellent. That's really great to know. So knowing this information, I mean, how do we get back to living our lives?
The really good news is that we're really on the tail end of the cases going down. So now is the time to really flatten that next curve, which is going to be the heart disease curve that the American Heart Association has actually declared it such from COVID. And we all have to take part in doing that. And I think it's individual responsibility. So getting to the doctor and getting a screening test, and you can do that through 9Health 365. It's a $45 test. You can essentially just get your blood checked, get a really good sense of, especially if you've had COVID, but even if you haven't, where you are today, and that helps set goals and a roadmap for where you need to be tomorrow.
Okay, well, $45, it's really a great deal. It's something that, of course, is great for your health. Dr. Kohli, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
And here's an important reminder: as our lives get back on track after COVID-19, affordable preventative health screenings are always available at upcoming 9Health fairs or a local Quest Diagnostic Center. Learn more at 9health365.org for more resources to ensure your health and, of course, your well-being.